Are you planning to get up? That question was asked as the words that began one of the most popular mid-90s series of all time from Nickelodeon. And today, I start my look back here on this channel. This is Mac Mondays, and this is the Secret World of Alex Mack, Episode 1, The Accident. Hi, how are you? It's great to see you. I'm RazMansReality, here to alter your reality on film, TV, and comics with unbiased reviews and discussion. So if this is your first time here and film, TV, and comics is your passion, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell notification icon so that you don't miss anything. If you've seen this episode of The Secret World of Alex Mack before, let me know what your favorite part of the accident is in the comment section down below. Also, because I care about you, my viewers, keep in mind that if you're checking out the show for the first time because these breakdowns intrigue you to do so, that it was from the era where the only way of television was 4:3 standard definition, so you will see black bars on the side of your screen. I've cropped our photos used for this YouTube series to 16:9 to make them more visually appealing on YouTube and in high definition. Alex Mack, right from the very beginning, would prove itself to be one of the most unique shows ever created, because the show opens up not with the main title character, but her sister. And not only does it open with her sister, but it opens with a very strange phrase to the title character, her sister, Alex Mack. Are you planning to get up? And then the uniqueness doesn't stop there, because in the very next shot, we meet Alex Mack for the first time in a reverse position of how people would normally sleep on their bed, with her head facing this way and her body facing that way. Now, as an adult, obviously I know that this was done intentionally by the director, so that the first time we see Alex, you see her face on camera. But the first time I ever saw it, being the same age as Larissa Orlanik, Alex Mack, I thought, what an awesome girl that is. She doesn't care about convention. She's like, I know how I'm comfortable sleeping. I'm going to sleep on my stomach in reverse because I'm just that awesome. We then meet our two main antagonists for the first time. Daniel Atron, the head of Paradise Valley Chemical Plant, and her head of security, Vince. And she is talking about how this is her crowning achievement, as GC-161 is soon to be ready for experimentation and hopefully being sold to the public as a miracle weight loss drug. We then meet Alex's mother, Barbara, for the first time, and it is established that she is very much a working mom, as she's on the phone with her work all the time. We see Alex disgusted because she feels that she's just the most average girl on the planet and just cannot figure out how to dress. This is also, of course, the only time in the history of the show that we see the iconic GC-161 hat minus the chemical. We then meet Alex's father, George Mack, and we learn here in this scene that both he and Annie are geniuses, with him being the head of research and development for Paradise Valley Chemical, and Annie being very capable of understanding what he is talking about, as she asked him here what he is working on that's so important, because he hasn't taken his eyes off the very early 90s computer screen for weeks. And of course, the thing he is so concerned about is our chemical, GC-161. And thus, naturally, after expressing that concern over its extraordinary capabilities, we see the chemical for the first time as it's about to be loaded onto a semi for transport. We are then introduced to Alex's best friend, Ray Alvarado, for the very first time. And what's really telling about this scene is that just prior to this screenshot you see here, Mrs. Mack almost blew Ray off entirely because she was on her business call. Ray didn't like the fact that he wasn't acknowledged by Mrs. Mack and immediately goes to Mr. Mack to shake his hand and get acknowledgement. Ray clearly feels as though the Macks are his family as well. We then get a moment which accomplishes two things. Number one, how out of touch Alex feels her mother is, because she's like, why are you giving me a lunchbox in the first place? This is my first day of junior high. I'm basically a young adult. I don't want a lunchbox. And two, this was the first time I ever remember seeing trolls on anything, ever. To me, trolls wasn't a thing until the early 2000s. The earliest memory I have of trolls being a thing for girls was 2000. So, to my fellow fans and 90s kids watching this video, let me know, did you ever see trolls around in the 90s? Because I sure don't remember them. Here we see more disgust from Alex as she is talking to Ray, and Ray wants to join the band because he wants to meet girls. And Alex is like, Ray, I'm a girl. You hang out with a girl every day. And Ray says, girl type girls. And Alex says, girl type girls. So you can see that she's a little bit insulted by Ray not thinking perhaps that she's pretty enough to consider dating, while at the same time pretty frustrated because she thinks that she'll never be a girl type girl. And as you would expect, the show gives us our first glimpse at a girl type girl when we see the appearance of the Atron Junior High women's basketball team, led by female antagonist character Jessica, who is just everything that Alex thinks she wants to be and everything that these girls acknowledge that Alex isn't. She's just really stuck up and really just, why are you on the same planet as me, Alex Mack? And yes, that is Jessica Alba as Jessica in her first ever television role. We then see Alex meet Scott, an 8th grader, so he's an older boy, who was very nice to her and stood up for her and told his girlfriend Jessica to stop messing with her. Of course, as you would expect, Alex gives him that look of, oh my god, you're absolutely gorgeous and you're paying attention to me. And me being my age, I'm just thinking at the time, girl, give me that look. I'll take that look from you and I'll give you all the attention you could ever want. But yeah, in all seriousness though, I just hated this kind of thing that went on in junior high and high school, where the girls that you want never paid attention to you because they always went for guys who are clearly not who they should be going after. Does that happen with Scott? Well, we'll have to wait for future episodes to know for sure. And here it is, the moment Alex drenched from head to toe in GC-161 thanks to the bumbling actions of chemical plant truck driver Dave, who is more concerned with eating than paying attention to the road. Alex, of course, is very concerned that she's been drenched in this chemical, and all she can think about is getting away from this scene. And this is very important because, as we see here, she manages to run off so quickly that Dave is unable to get a good look at her, because let's face it, if the chemical plant had found her right away, this would have been a very, very different series. So that was a very important thing that lasted for a very long time in the show's run. Alex makes it home to her garage and her powers begin to manifest, at which point she obviously begins to absolutely freak out. She can attract metal, as we see the power saw here being pulled toward her, and she discovers the ability to zap electricity from her fingers. Alex shows great intelligence here because she clearly knows that these powers can be very, very dangerous. So she immediately tells her sister Annie, who, as you can tell by the look on her face, is just flabbergasted and doesn't really know what to think. In fact, her attitude in this episode can be considered by some as maybe just, you're overreacting. Like, she doesn't really understand what's going on here until later on when we see more powers manifest and she sees it for herself. Vince is then here on his very 90s cell phone to Miss Atron, telling her about what's happened with the truck accident. Atron, of course, freaks out because she knows if the chemical GC-161 itself gets out, then the dangers of the chemical will get out, and all of her subsequent plans for the use of the chemical are ruined. We see Annie then using her intelligence to give Alex a physical, and physically she says that she is just fine, to which Alex responds, "So I shouldn't be worried?" And then Annie says, "Of course you should be worried. We have no idea what the intentions for this chemical were, let alone what this high dosage could mean for you. And clearly these powers could be just the beginning." Here we see another power manifest as Ray walks into the garage and realizes what happened to Alex, and we see a glowing effect that the chemical gives her when she gets too excited and her heart is racing. Of course, that happened because she didn't expect Ray to walk in on her. And at the time, of course, she had no idea yet that that was the reason for the reaction, but we find that out in later episodes. Yet another power manifests as Alex is thinking that she's hungry, and a bag of chips comes flying toward her through telekinesis. And here we see the last of her major powers manifest, as she has the ability to morph into a puddle when she thinks too much about water. When she's able to reform from the metamorphosis into the puddle, she doesn't have her clothes on. This is the one and only time this happens, as we learn that it takes complete focus for her to return to her human state after that metamorphosis. I always wondered how this semi-adult moment got past the Nickelodeon TV censors at the time, because even though she's clearly covered in every way possible, just the insinuation was so unique for TV back then, alone in that of a show that is geared toward both a younger audience and an audience of that age. Alex is able to get back upstairs after morphing again. This time she concentrates, has her clothes intact, and she's able to greet the security team from the chemical plant here and pretend like she has no idea what has happened. We then see her focus this time and control the telekinesis on purpose, as she uses it to destroy a hand scanner that would have made her discovered as the GC-161 kid by Vince, as well as take their car that Vince and Dave arrived in and send it on its own down their driveway to make sure that they leave. Alex and Annie go to bed here, and she says clearly, "My second day of junior high will be a lot different from my first." And she uses her zapping powers to turn off the lights in her bedroom, but because she just now had them and doesn't yet know how to control them, this causes lights to flicker everywhere from the electricity spike in all of Paradise Valley, thus making Daniel Atron aware that the kid has escaped her grasp, to which she replies, "Enjoy it now, kid, while you can." So a very, very amazing first episode, extremely gripping for an episode of this type, and just something that makes you dying to learn what happens next. If you enjoyed this look back at the Secret World of Alex Mack, or if this is your first experience with it, then in either case, you will probably also enjoy a podcast that is currently available on iTunes called The Secret Podcast of Alex Mack, done by two fans who've never experienced the show themselves. So I will link that down below in the description box, along with my Amazon affiliate link at no extra cost to you if you would like to pick up The Secret World of Alex Mack and follow along with this series with me. The affiliate links are now fully functional, by the way. There was some misunderstanding with Amazon's steps, but everything now is back on track. If you haven't already subscribed, you can do so right now by hitting the round subscribe icon to my left. Check out the playlist for all my other videos on the Secret World of Alex Mack, and support RazMansReality on Patreon. And as always, this has been your RazMansReality check.